Guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to finally share my journey with uterine fibroids. So if you're interested in this video, keep watching. Hey guys, so I hope you are all well. So I wanted to touch base on a topic that has been very dear to me. I have been going through this for quite a while now, and I'm sure that there are other women out here that are experiencing the same problem. So I'm hoping that this video will reach those who are going through similar situations. So in 2012, in my early 20s, I finally discovered that I had fibroids. How I discovered it is that my cycle would last for more than 7 days, and it would be extremely heavy. At first, I kind of put it to the side and I didn't think much of it. I was just like, oh, okay, like this is something obviously that women goes through, so no big deal. So I kind of completely ignored my body and didn't think anything of it. And it didn't really become a problem until it became a problem. So if you don't know what fibroids are basically masses, or you can call them non-cancerous tumors that grow inside of your womb, and they can range in different sizes. Some can be as small as maybe a Skittle candy, and some can be as big as let's say a peach or grapefruit, or maybe even bigger. I've seen some that are bigger. So, however, how these fibroids grow, there's not much history on it. I thought that maybe there was some information on your diet. I'm sure diet plays a major part in it, but there's not a lot of information as to why these things form in women. But they do form in childbearing years. So, my experience with this at the beginning was not so bad, honestly. I was able to maintain a regular lifestyle. I was able to have a normal walk through life, and I didn't think anything of it. It didn't become a problem until it became a problem. So back in 2012, I knew that something was going on with my body, but again, I kind of ignored it. My periods were extremely long, and I was just like, okay, this is just what a typical woman goes through, so I'm just gonna let it lay. So fast forward to 2014, I noticed that periods started to even last longer than 7 days, which I found was very odd. So I was just like, okay, something has to be going on. Like, why is my period lasting so long? So it would exceed the normal 7 days, and then it would go on to 10 days. And then one time I realized that it was a major problem when my cycle lasted for about 14 days. So I'm sitting there and I'm bleeding heavily for 14 days, and I was just like, something's up. So I finally decided to go see a gynecologist, and that's when they gave me the diagnosis that your fibroids are getting much bigger and we have to do something about it. So at that point, I was like, yeah, obviously I have to do something about this. So my GYN recommended that I do a DNC. If you see me looking down, I'm looking down at my notes. So my gynecologist recommended that I do a DNC, which is a dilation and curettage, where they basically go inside and they scrape the inside of your womb. And this is normally done for people that have abnormal cells in their womb area, or they're trying to conceive and can conceive, so they usually do this procedure. So I thought that it would be fine to do this procedure because I was just like, anything can help right now. It's an outpatient surgery. They put you on an anesthetic and you're done within, I believe, 3 hours. So I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, this is okay. This is fine with me. So I went in for my DNC, and I felt fine for a couple of years. I had no issues, no problems. So I was like, okay, this is doable. This is okay. So fast forward into 2016, I noticed again that my cycle started to get extremely long. I think one time I even bled for a whole month. And I'm sorry if this is very graphic, but I'm being real with you. I would notice that I would have extremely large clots coming out. And I was wearing these huge purple always pads. I still wear those huge purple always pads. You know, the ones that are like extremely long with the wings. I was wearing two of those at the time. So I was just like, okay, something is obviously wrong. So I need to do something about this right away. So then I went and I visited my GYN again, and they were like, okay, Tosh, you have 10 fibroids now. So I was like, wow, 10 fibroids. They were like, well, obviously they're bothering you. So how about we do, I forget the procedure that they wanted to do, but it was something like they wanted to freeze them and then scrape them out. So I was like, that is cool. Like, I am okay with that, because at that point I was just tired of bleeding. I was severely anemic. So I had very low iron because I was losing so much blood every month. So I noticed that my hair started to thin, and I was just like, this is crazy. But of course, I was just like, no big deal. I went on like this for a couple of months. Like, I would dread getting off the train because I lived in New York at that time, and I had to take the subway, and of course it was so many stairs. But just the thought of walking that 10-minute walk to work was just a major task for me. You don't understand. Like, my heart used to beat extremely fast. I would be winded. I would be tired. I would be exhausted just from a 10-minute walk, or exhausted for knowing that I had to walk up the stairs. Like, I was one of those that was like, if the escalator is not working and I had to walk up the stairs, I knew that it was going to be bad because I could not breathe. I tried to do normal activities as far as going to the gym. That didn't work so well because I didn't have the energy to do these things, and that was an all contributing factor to being anemic. So I just suffered extremely, and I went on with this for a long time. I didn't listen to my body, and I was just like, okay, I'll be fine, no worries. I think at that one point I missed my surgery because I was just like, I can get through this. This is not an issue. Fast forward, I think it was probably September 2016. My period started to even last longer than a month. And I'm talking about not just drips and drabs of period, but like serious period. So I was just like, okay, this is not good. My hair was even thinning at a faster pace. I was getting even more tired. I didn't want to do anything. I was depressed. I was extremely moody. And I just wanted to I don't know, at that point I felt like I just wanted to give up because I felt like, I am losing this battle. So one day I was at home, and I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I ended up taking like a medicine or a pill because I noticed that I was cramping, like extreme cramps, and I was just like, this is horrible. So I decided to go to the emergency room that night because I was just like, something is off. I went to the emergency room and they admitted me right away. They basically checked my eyes, and they checked like my overall physical appearance. They checked my oxygen levels, and they admitted me. So I wasn't expecting that, but I knew something was wrong. So word of advice, if you feel in your gut that something is going on with you physically, don't ignore it, because I ignored it for years, and then the outcome is, to me, horrible. But I'm alive, thank God. So anyway, I was in the hospital, and they did a hemoglobin check on me, and they said that my hemoglobin level was at a 4. Now, typically a woman is supposed to be at a hemoglobin level of the range of 12 and 15. I was at a 4. So they said if I had gotten or have continued like that, I would have eventually went into cardiac arrest because I did not have enough blood throughout my body. So I was just in shock, but I knew something was off. And of course, me ignoring my body, I let my blood go down so low that I was hospitalized. So they had to give me 2 blood transfusions, and they performed another DNC. So what they realized when they did a sonogram on my stomach, and they basically said that you have a fibroid on your cervix. So what's happening is that every time that your period is about to end, the fibroid on your cervix is contracting again, and it's making your body go through the period cycle again. So it was like my period would never end. So they decided to do another D&C on me and scraped out the inside of my womb again. And that took care of the situation with, I guess, the fibroid that was on my cervix. I felt great. I felt fine. I was like, okay, after 2 blood transfusions and after getting the D&C, I think I was home for about 2 days. And then I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, I'm okay. I'm good. So fast forward to 2021, I started to notice that my period started lasting long again. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, it has to be my fibroids. I was going to the GYN normally, and they said that, hey, Tosh, you now have 15 fibroids? And I was just like, wow, 15 fibroids. And they said that there is one, I forgot what centimeters they said, but it said it's basically the size of a plum. You have one in your uterus. So that was a shocker, because I just never would have thought that a fibroid would have been living and growing inside of my uterus for that long. So I went to the doctor and we discussed my options. We basically discussed if I wanted to go on birth control pills. I did not want to go on birth control pills because I've taken them before, and I know there's so many different levels, but I had a really bad experience with birth control pills in my teenage years, and I was taking them because I had issues with my cycle at that time. I had abnormal cycles. So then I was just like, okay, fine. I'm not going to get on birth control pills. One day, me and my fiance would eventually like to have children, so I didn't want anything to hinder that at all. So I didn't take the birth control pills, but what they did put me on is a very high dose of ibuprofen. So my doctor said anytime that you feel like your periods are too heavy, the ibuprofen would basically stop the bleeding because it's an anti-inflammatory. So I was like, oh, fine, I'll take that. So I took that, and then when I finished taking that, I was just like, okay, like I can do this. I'm okay. I noticed that my period again would go 7 days, and I was like, all right, fine. 7 days is nothing. I'm good. Then it would go on 2 weeks, and I was like, this is not. This is annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like, here we go again with the same situation. So then one time I bled for a whole month. So I was just like, okay, this is really bad. So I think I did this off and on, long periods, short periods, for about 4 months. And I started to feel worse. My hair started to thin again. This is the second time that it did this. And I just started to notice that I was very, very low in energy again. So I went to the doctor. They checked my hemoglobin level, and they was like, all right, I'm very concerned because your hemoglobin is at a 7 this time. So I was like, great, I'm at a 7, but it's not a 4. So I'm just like, all right, I can do what I have to do to get this up. I didn't take iron pills. I was trying to eat a whole bunch of steak. I was trying to eat a whole bunch of vegetables that contain high levels of iron, not knowing that that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. So I was slowly declining in iron because of the fibroids causing so much bleeding. So I was at work one day, and I was feeling so weak and so tired, but I didn't want to show that at work. Of course, you want to be at your very best, right? So I'm at work, and I'm just like, okay, this is fine, no problem. I think it was about 2 o'clock on a Thursday, and I noticed that my cycle just went crazy. Again, very descriptive. I started clotting so much, and then it would be like gushes of blood, and my stomach was hurting so bad, and I was just like, something is off. I think I ran to the drugstore to get some more of those big purple pads that I use, and I was just like, okay, this is fine. I'll just write it out. I get off at 6, I'll be fine. I kept going through 2 of those purple pads every 30 minutes. I am not lying to you. So every 30 minutes, I would go through 2 of those big purple pads, right? I was sitting there, and I was like, this is not good. Something is wrong. My heart would start beating extremely fast, and then I would start sweating, and I started feeling very nauseous. Long story short, I ended up in the restroom, and I was just hemorrhaging. I felt like I was just bleeding out completely. I laid on the bathroom floor because that was the only place that I can feel cool and feel a breeze, because I felt exhausted and just so tired. My coworker happened to knock on the door because I was in the bathroom for so long, and it was after 6. Everyone's ready to go home. So here I am laying on the bathroom floor. Listen, it's not funny, but I look back at it now and I'm just like, wow, I'm just happy to be alive. If I sound like I'm over exaggerating, oh well, because this is exactly what I had to go through. Um, so I'm laying on the floor. My coworker finally convinced me to get off the bathroom floor. I had to make the decision, like, if I do pass out in this bathroom, do I want somebody to catch me with my pants down on the floor? And I was like, no, that's not a good look. So I forced myself to get up. I dragged myself out of the bathroom at work, and my boss came up to me and he was like, should I call an ambulance? At first I thought about it and I was like, no, I'm fine. And then I was like, yeah, please call an ambulance, because there's no way that I was going to make it out of that work or out of my job in the condition that I was in. So they called an ambulance. I was taken to NYU. They checked my blood levels again. They put me on oxygen, and they gave me 2 blood transfusions again. So I was in the hospital for a day. Of course, they admitted me, and I just felt like crap. And I just was sitting there reevaluating the situation, and I just felt horrible, because had I had listened to my body a long time ago, I probably would have not been in that situation again. So I went to my GYN a week later, and they told me that I couldn't do the procedure where they just freeze the fibroids and scrape them out. They decided that they wanted to do a myectomy. But then the catch 22 is they couldn't do a myectomy on me until I got my blood levels up, because they basically would not touch me until I got my blood levels up. So I am now currently working on trying to get my blood up. They have me on 2 different medications. So I'm taking these 2 medications. I'm still having long periods where I am bleeding for a month at a time. I don't feel as weak because I have been taking iron on a daily basis, and I've been taking a multivitamin on a daily basis. So I'm starting to really have a wake up call and get myself together, because I want to be around. So going back to the myectomy is basically a machine that's going to go inside. They do like a little slit in your bikini area, and it's like a little machine that they'll surgically remove the fibroid out of my uterus, because that's the option that they gave me if I still wanted to have a child in the near future. The catch 22 with a myectomy is that you cannot conceive for 3 years because of scar tissue. And when you finally do conceive, you have to have a C-section. So no vaginal birth for me. And I'm in my 30s. So I say I hope to have the procedure done this year. And I'll be almost 40 by the time I can hopefully have a child. It's so sad to me and it sucks, but I know that there are some women that are having full hysterectomies. So, I'm not going to complain about my situation, but I wanted to make this video for those women who kind of ignore their bodies, because I know I was one of them. I didn't think that it was so serious, and I got 2 warning signs. My body gave me 2 warnings. After 4 blood transfusions, it took me that to finally wake up and realize that this is a bad situation and this is not something that you should ignore. I feel like that your cycle is lasting longer than it should be, please go check it out. Don't ignore your body, because it gives you signs. Your body definitely gives you signs before it goes through something traumatic. And if I had listened to those signs, I wouldn't be going through this right now. Go to see your GYN and explain everything that you're going through. I remember just not wanting to explain what I was going through, because to me it was embarrassing, to just be in my 20s and having to go through this situation. And then I just lumped it up as, oh, this is something normal that women go through. Obviously not, but I know there's a lot of women out there that go through it and they suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence. And have a good support system. My fiance has been more than supportive of me. He's been very helpful. He's been there every time that I have been in a hospital. And, even though sometimes I just feel like, what's the point? And sometimes I just want to just be in my bed and be sad about it. There are so many people that are going through worse situations. So I try not to be like, whoa, it's me all the time. And I just try to do what I have to do to get my health on point, and Hopefully, everything will go well. So, having a support system is major, and don't let people look at your situation and take it lightly. Yes, there are some women who live with fibroids and they are okay, but there are some women like me who suffer through them. And I've also had people that had negative things to say. I've had someone tell someone I knew that, wow, everybody that you know has problems going on with their womb. And they thought it was a joke. And this was coming from a male. And I was very disgusted by that comment, because if you don't experience that, then I don't think you should make a joke out of it. Like, what if it was their wife or their daughter that was experiencing these same issues? Would they think it's a joke then? I don't think so. So that I have my consultation on June 30th, and hopefully they can schedule my surgery right away. And I just ready for this to be over with. One thing that they did say is that when I do get the procedure, is that they are going to remove the fibroid that is in my uterus. However, they're not going to touch the other 14 that are there, because it's not really bothering me as of yet. But there is a possibility that they may grow in the future. I know, sucks, right? But they don't like to typically bother fibroids until they bother you. You feel like your body is a ticking time bomb, because you don't know when these other fibers are going to grow. The perfect setting for me is to have this surgery 3 years later, hopefully conceive and get a full-on hysterectomy in order to avoid any future complications with these fibroids. I know some women are like, well, why would you get rid of it? I'm just so tired of going through this, guys. Like, I want to be able to wear white and do things. I haven't worn a pair of white pants. I can't even tell you the last time I wore a pair of white pants. And if your body's giving all these warning signs, don't end up like me. Go to the doctor. Go take care of yourself. Take the iron pills. Be on top of your blood count. Just be on top of things, guys, because I was so close to death twice that, you know, it amazes me. I try not to think about it, because again, people out in the world are going through worse situations, and I don't never want to be the type of person that feels sorry for myself, and I sometimes catch myself feeling sorry for myself, but I try to snap out of it as quickly as possible. So that's it, guys. That is my story. I wake up in excruciating pain. I'm popping ibuprofen often, more often than I would like, but it is what it is, you know. So I will come back to you with another video with an update. But for now, that's my story, guys. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.